middle afternoon playoffs about to start for the NFL. Not a lot to talk about, but NBA still on, and I mentioned the time has come to talk about trades. And one big one that really is coming to a headway is Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond is available and ready to move. And the reason why is the league has changed, right? I talked about it. I want to do another video. It's the year of the years of the Euro. Big men that are not post-dominated, that can face up, shoot the three. You know, basically, you have to be a point center now in the NBA to be worthwhile. And you also have to have a little bit of pace. And pace is a problem for Mr. Joel Embiid. I'm not going to go there yet, but Andre Drummond is a guy that brings the standard intangibles, and I'm going to give him more benefit than the doubters that are giving him kind of a slant and remember what he was at UConn and coming out of high school. Andre Drummond was one of the more athletic centers, power forwards actually, what I thought he would be, in the NBA, and coming into the NBA. He had handle a little bit in high school, as usual. They show it in high school. He went to UConn, played a different role. They set him up for something different. He really never developed a mid-range game. Does he have it? Do I think he can gain it? I'm one of the few guys that thinks you can develop a shot. I think that is something learned. The athleticism is much harder to attain, but an instinct. But the shot is something that can be learned. Are you going to become Dan Marley or Drazen Petrovic? No, but you can learn to be a good three-point shooter. I think Blake Griffin is perfect evidence of learning to gain something more from the game. The problem is with this running league, when you got Clint Capella, guys like Nerlens Noel should be thriving in this league if he was on the right team, running up and down. Guys like Andre Drummond are kind of going away. However, I think it is the situation that he's in that is giving him the wrong type of looks. And the other problem is he's due for a big contract and he may not re-sign. So that's truly the reason why the Pistons are looking to move him. There's no guarantees with Mr. Drummond. Therefore, we jump into this, right? We jump into where is he going to move to? I'm going to use Google again. I love this little look. It's quick. It's intuitive. It allows me to just click on one of the teams and start talking my trash. And one of the teams is, number one team is obviously the Boston Celtics. I don't know what else everyone else is talking about. I like Taco. I do like what they have by Robert Williams, and I love Tice is kind of playing that role for them as, you know, center, okay? But Drummond brings all-star potential. He'll be clogging up the lanes with Enes Kanter. They'll have Taco to back up, maybe a Robert Williams. There's a couple of trades that can be made here, and I think the Pistons would be dying to make it. If somehow they don't gut their core to get Mr. Drummond, I think it's an exciting move for them. I wouldn't move Kanter. I think maybe they ask for Taco. I don't know. I like Taco. I do like Taco in times. But, you know, Robert Williams would probably be the key asset that they're looking for here. No offense. I mean, I hate to say it. I love him as well, Celtics fans. But to get Mr. Drummond, another defensive pivotal point on the team, this team would be very scary defensively. Offensively, they won't be there. But defensively, they are pretty scary. If they're able to get Drummond, it puts them at another level. Even though I think Robert Williams may grow into a conquerable defender to Andre Drummond because he has tremendous leaping ability, blocking ability, just needs to get some size this summer. I think he'll be up there as one of the top defenders in the NBA. Who's up next, all right? The problem is they're going to lose a lot offensively, all right? Who's up next when we look at squads and player allocation, we look at standings? You're talking about the Raptors. I don't know why. I don't get the Raptor play. For me, the Raptors are good as is, and they should be on a rebuilding stage. Let's go ahead and look at their squad real quick and see what we got. Let's see what we got with the Raptors. And obviously I'm doing three things at once, hence why you're hearing a little stoppages. So Larry, Siakam, Boucher, Gasol's older. Okay. They're light at the center position from a true center position. Okay, just look at their squad and you can see they're pretty light. Who could they do away with? I would hate to trade my only center for another center, right? It makes them scary defensively, but Marc Gasol brings some intangibles that Drummond cannot bring, and that is obviously the outside shot. Defensively, obviously, Drummond is at a whole new another level versus Marc Gasol. So that's an interesting one there. Who else could use Mr. Andre Drummond? If I look on the East Coast, I keep hearing the Hawks. I don't know if this is a rental. I'm assuming it's just, hey, put him on the books and trade him. Put him on the books and let him go the following year, right? Because he has the option to re-sign or not re-sign. I don't think he'll re-sign with the Hawks. Don't see the need for him. If the Hawks want to get it, I don't see the reason why the Hawks are even looking at him. They have a glutton of potential great center backups and centers on this team. I tell you what, I love what I see from Alex Len this year. If he was in the right situation, I mean, let's be straight up. Alex Len is not that bad as a backup center. He has length. He's one of the better 7'3" runners. Bruno Fernando looks amazing. You're going to get John Collins, who is kind of playing an in-between role, center and power forward. I do think this is enough. I think they need shooting. I think they need more consistent shooting. I think Cam and Kevin Huerter will get there, but they need more shooting. I mean, I don't see why you would look at Mr. Drummond on this team. And I'm sorry, Damian Jones, who's your elite. Again, I'm so disappointed in the Hawks. I just don't get why they're not being more competitive. But it's obvious they had some injuries, right? They had some injuries early in the year. I think you keep this team and add pieces and you're set. They're deep. They got a lot of talent on the Hawks. I'm telling you, a lot of talent. Backup point guard may be the only spot where I see I want somebody more pass-oriented, even though Trey is creative. I'm talking about pass first. I'm talking about Rondo-like, right? A bigger guard that can defend the better point guards in the league. Trey can't. Trey can't be a defender in that realm. Just too slight. He doesn't have the body type. Can they get somebody or develop somebody like that? That's what I'll be after as a Hawk, and I think they may be able, with their ranking, to get that in the draft. So for me, I don't see Drummond working out there, and I don't even know why they're talking about the Hawks unless, expired contract, let it go, and then keep some money. So that makes sense. The Knicks, no. Cleveland, let's go West Side, all right? West Side. Clippers, I heard a Clippers talk, okay? I don't get that. I don't get if you have to give up too much to get them. If you have to give up too much to get them, such as a Zubac, okay, a Harkless, any of those defensive presences, if it's just Pat Patterson or somebody, Derek Walton, right? Make the move. You'll be probably one of the strongest defensive teams in the West. I said they needed height. I said this is a team that needs some height. But if they have to gut to get him on an expiring deal where he can re-sign with anyone else, this is a borrow, guys. Okay, that's why I wouldn't give up too much for this trade, and the Pistons have to know that this is really just a rental. Okay, there's no priority or a stamp of confidence that he can resign. He'll resign with any team that he's traded to. So you can't give up that much. That's why I saw some trades, first round pick and some money. That sounds right for a rental. Okay, you don't know if he's going to re-sign. Mavericks, I saw that. Don't understand that. Okay, I don't understand why the Mavericks would get him. Okay, doesn't make any sense in my mind for the Mavericks to go after this guy. Okay, however, there is a team outside of the Celtics who I think are the favorites to get him and use him. I think somebody like the Spurs, okay? if they want to try to, make the playoffs again and have no chance at a championship, they don't really have a legit center. I think Jacob has done a great job, Pulte, but he's a backup. LaMarcus Aldridge is playing the center role. Could they get him for cheap, right? Could they get him a Jacob Pulte swap? Maybe that works out there. I think the Spurs are the second runner. Boston Celtics and the Spurs, from an impact perspective, I don't see where else he can go with his talent, okay? I don't see. There's another. Let me give you third team, okay? Third team on that list, okay? And it's going to be a fourth team. See, I keep talking trash for no reason as I look at the teams. I think, actually, I was going to go Trailblazers the third, but I think the Kings are the third team. Okay, they lost their big man last year. It's evident that even though Willie Cauley-Stein didn't appear to have an impact, there was an impact. Holmes is having one of the better seasons in the NBA. They got Vigilenko, can stretch the floor. Harry Giles, haven't seen much of him. Could they use a legit veteran center that's just going to be the muscle in the ring? Because I don't think they have that. I think Rashawn Holmes, combined with Drummond would be nice to see. Bagley's developing again, needs to gain more weight. That's why you're not seeing the big projection upward in playoffs, because they wanted playoffs this year. They need another year. I love Mr. Harrison Barnes, but this draft need to shore up a superstar at the small forward position. I don't know who's out there. I think the draft in 2021 has it, but 2020, I got to look again. Maybe Drummond works out here, all right? Maybe Drummond works out there. They got Dedmon as well. So, again, a lot of good talent. But, again, you're looking at an all-star double-double machine in Drummond. Maybe he helps them out. Last but not least, I think the Spurs obviously should be taking a peek at Mr. Drummond. And we just went over why, right? I went over the Kings. I just did the Spurs. I do think the Spurs are missing that talent inside that muscle. I do think the Kings need some muscle. I think the Celtics need the muscle. All right. So in all, those are the four teams. Celtics, right? We talked about them getting Mr. Drummond. We talked about the Raptors. Okay. The Raptors possibly moving for Mr. Drummond. I don't see why, but hey, he's there. Then we went into the West Coast. We looked at the Spurs, Clippers, so it's 5 teams, and the Kings. The Trailblazers, that was where I was going. The Trailblazers, let me tell you what happens here, right? I don't like Whiteside, okay? I don't like what I'm seeing with this team. All right. I love every player in the NBA. I just see they need to be in the right situation. Even though he's having tremendous games, even though he may be exerting a lot of effort, I just don't see it. I don't see it. All right. I think Drummond works hard and plays every play and will run out to the 3-point line if there's a 3-point shooter. I think you get a little bit more pace with Drummond. A little bit more running gun action. I think it fits a little bit better with Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum. I heard some McCollum trades, and I think you're an idiot if you trade any of the guards here. Simons, Lillard, McCollum should be untouchable on this team. I think it's the personnel. I told him go after Kenneth Faried. I think if you do make the trade, Kenneth Faried, pick him up, trade Whiteside straight up for Drummond, it makes this team better. And you know what? I'm going to move them up to the second spot. If the Blazers are able to move Whiteside for Drummond, I think it makes them more flexible from a running gun perspective. Because Whiteside is not a running gun guy. He's the old school post up. He's a tremendous player. Put up 21 rebounds the other night. But from a consistency perspective, running out to get Jokic at the 3-point line, or maybe running out having to get, who else is out there? There's so many. Aldridge and one of those guys. It's going to be tough on them. We'll get into that trade talk with the Blazers and the Spurs in the next video. But right now, Drummond's on the move. I gave you the options. I think the Celtics and Blazers make the most sense. Off work. Sign it off. Peace.